For a change, George is playing catch-up with the foxes on his shoot. He may have had 107 since July, but clay commitments during the early harvest and a leg injury, plus uninvited guests, have meant he's playing catch-up with some pretty educated Charlies.
A lot of these foxes on here now are pretty wild. We've had a bit of help from outside sources, and the wild ones are causing me the problem, so hopefully we can pick up one or two long-range wild ones. I've been waiting for the moon to go down as well. We've had a full moon for the last 10 days that's ruined it, and the moon probably won't be up now tonight until about 11 o'clock, which will give us 2.5 hours before it gets to the point where there's too much light to really go and do it properly.
It sounds as if the odds are against us, so George is going to try and redress the balance by treating every set of eyes as a fox who has seen it all before. No calling, just lamps, plus we have the benefit of the whisper-quiet Polaris. With our backs to the pheasant pen, a fox ducks through a hedge at the bottom of the valley. Thankfully, we're able to catch up with it on the other side.
I've made the conscious decision tonight to come out and just, if it's safe and I feel as though I can kill it, I will have a shot. It was a nice shot down the hill, and I could see the full head and the mask and everything else, and I'm pleased to have got it.
Fox number 2 is right outside another pen. This one is reasonably close. Before we collect it, George decides this is the one place on the shoot that's worth having a squeak. It generates no interest. The fox he did shoot is in lovely condition, probably thanks to its young pheasant diet.
That wood there's got a release pen in it. It was a bit longer than I would normally have shot it, but I'm very nervous of the situation that we're currently in. There's no wind tonight to speak of as such, so needs must, and that's doing me a huge amount of damage at the moment. We've already lost, this week we've lost about 35 pheasants in and around this pen. We've been having one or two kills outside of the wood and outside of the pen in this field, so hopefully that might have cured some of the problem.
Although the 2 foxes we shot this evening have been this year's, George has had a mixture of young and old. He believes shooting them so hard last year created a gap in the market. Fox 3 is another shot at range, appreciated by Will on the lamp.
Well done, that was a long way.
You see why I've got problems around a pheasant pen, can't you?
George is really having to compose himself for these shots.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those what I would call headache nights where you go out and, normally, although this is a job and I have to do the job, I also enjoy doing it because we do it well, and it's a very effective method of controlling foxes. We've had to go into a different mode to try and get them because these foxes are wild now, and it's not as enjoyable, but needs must.
Fox 4 is just the other side of some reeds and thankfully a bit closer, as is Fox 5, or so George thinks.
I suppose because it's a dark background on this bean stubble and it was sat up looking at me, it probably looked bigger than it, and closer than it actually was, but still another good one to get. That's 5 we've got now, we've still got
another young vixen.
Still got a bit of ground to do yet, so who knows.
After a few hours on patrol, the moon starts making an appearance, but not to the extent of it impairing our chances. Fox number 6 requires the white light. George is a big fan of the red filter, but with shots at this distance and with a partially obscured shot, he needs the stronger beam.
Obviously I'd prefer to shoot in a red light, and I would shoot all my foxes in a red light if I could. But when they're long distance and a longer distance than normal, and in sort of tall stubble or reddy brown ground like on a bean stubble and that sort of thing, sometimes a bean stubble can be dark, sometimes it can be slightly lighter, and a fox doesn't show so well on that. You can't see the silhouette of the fox, so I will go to a white light, and you can see that they're a long way away, but purely and simply by the fact that we've put the white light on 2 or 3 foxes and they haven't really moved. So only a fox a long way away would behave like that in a white light.
The next fox we spot is stopping for no one. However, on the next field, this one gives George just long enough.
You know, I came expecting and fearing the worst. We've managed to shoot 7 foxes right in the middle of the shoot. We've had some seriously long shots. I think probably the closest fox we shot was about 120 yards up to about nearly 300. And been a good team effort, really pleased.
George was worried that tonight would be fruitless, but thanks to some good shooting and a good lamping partnership, the pheasants can sleep a little bit sounder.